that for others who are not able to be with us because they are working actually right now. So one other bit of housekeeping before we begin. So we are providing, and I'm so grateful to the ISU team for arranging this for us, but we are providing sign language interpretation. Thank you, Kimberly. And we also have closed captioning available. So if you go to the bottom of your screen, and that would help you, you can select the closed caption option. And so with that, I will now officially begin. I want to welcome you. My name is Brooke. I've been with many of you all day. And so I want to thank you for staying with us till this session through the end of our day together. You know that my name is Brooke, and on behalf of the orientation team, thank you for being part of today. The intention of New Student Orientation is that your transition into ISU, both academically and socially, would be made easier by the presentations today. So as you know, we started with our welcome. We then had the student small groups at 10 o'clock where you were able to meet with peer leaders. We had Meet the Faculty where you hopefully attended and met with your faculty. We had the Lunch and Learn tutorials. We had the Campus Life breakout sessions. We had career exploration. And now I am beyond excited to introduce two of my wonderful colleagues to you. They are fantastic. They represent one of our most amazing units within student affairs at ISU, the Counseling and Testing Center. So without further ado, Kristen Yates and Matt Ashton.
All right, thank you, Brooke. Can you all hear me? Okay, who's seeing some head nodding? Wonderful. Okay, I'm going to share some slides here that we're going to go through and share with you all. Let me pull it up here. All right, can everybody see those? Great. Okay, so Kristen and I are from Counseling and Testing Service here on campus. And so we're here to talk with you about our services, but also share with you some ideas as you start either back into college or for the first time, some tips for kind of managing some of the difficulties with stress and other emotional stressors that show up for most of us as we go through college. Okay, and so to start out, I want you to think about some questions here. And that is, when you have problems with your car, who do you go to? Okay, you can think about who that is. If you want to throw your answer into the chat, feel free to do that. We're going to go through these fairly quickly though. But you would go probably to a mechanic, right, that knows something about cars, or maybe you got a good friend or family member that knows something about cars. You go to them. What if you have problems with your teeth? Got a toothache or a chipped tooth or something like that? Okay, you'd probably go to a dentist. Okay, that'd be a good, smart one to go to. Okay, or if you have problems with a math class, let's say it's been a while since you've taken math, or it's something brand new that you're just struggling with, who would you go to? There's probably a number of people you could go to for that, right? Maybe you go to your professor, your teacher, okay? Maybe there's a TA in the course you could go to, or a tutor, okay? Or again, maybe your mom or dad knows a few things about math that could help you with that, okay? One last one, if you have a leak in your apartment, okay, or your house, who do you go to for that? Okay, I think we'd all go to a plumber. That would be the person that would know the most about how to fix a big leak in your house, okay? So there's all these different professionals and experts in different fields that help us with these different problems that arise, okay, whatever they might be. And so we want you to be aware of some of the things we see in college students and what our office offers to help you with that, okay? So Counseling and Testing Services, we have professional counselors and psychologists and a social worker that are here to help you with the emotional difficulties that arise in college, because they happen for most all of us. And I would say all of us on different levels. Okay, so if you think about it, you can take a look at this list here. Okay, sometimes it's just as simple of, we're just trying to adjust to college. It's a new experience, a new place. okay, a new routine, and sometimes that's pretty rocky, okay? So that adjustment and transition to being in college. Sometimes stress is just really high and overwhelming, or there's really difficult emotional difficulties that arise that you're trying to deal with, along with school and all the things that you're trying to get there. Okay, struggles with more serious kinds of things that maybe have been, even before college started. Okay, struggles with depression and anxiety. Okay, or maybe there's relationship concerns. Okay, personal relationships, family relationships, friendships. Okay, that can happen on any level. Or perhaps you've had some traumatic experiences in your life and you're trying to overcome the effects of those really difficult experiences, whether those were long ago or more recent. Okay, or you're kind of exploring a new part of yourself, a new identity, or you're experiencing some discrimination in different areas of your life. Okay, and that can be really stressful and difficult. Perhaps you're just trying to get up the confidence to do what you're here to do. Okay, we all can struggle with that in a lot of different ways. And particularly right now with COVID-19, there's a lot of different concerns that arise, which may include, some of you might have experienced some loss of someone that you know that's been affected by illness or other circumstances, okay, and you're experiencing some grief and you're dealing with that on top of being in college. So any and all of these concerns are things that professionals in our office can help you with, okay? And maybe you have already done counseling, in other places, or you've got really great supports and you talk with family members and friends and you get the support you need. That's wonderful. We hope that all of you have that. And sometimes a little extra help of someone maybe disconnected from your life can help you with these things and give you some extra perspectives and helps with that. That's what our office is all about. Okay, we're here to serve students with their emotional needs as they're going through their time in college. Okay, so the other part of our office that we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on, but we want to make you aware of, is the testing portion. And this is specifically professional testing. If you need, perhaps you've heard about the ALEKS test right now, placement for math, okay? Or placement for other areas of study, okay? Or you need to take something like the GRE at some point for graduate school or other entrance exams, okay? Or we also do certification and licensing exams in a number of different professions and career areas, okay? And occasionally some course exams end up going through our office as well, depending on the circumstances of the course. Okay, so that's all done in the testing portion of our office, which is separate from the counseling portion, but we're kind of in the same space together. So we are doing in-person testing. The spaces are a little more limited because we do need to spread out and follow all of the protocols with COVID-19, but it is happening. Face coverings are required when you come for testing. And if you do have questions about specific tests, I would refer you to our website or give our office a call, and our testing professionals can answer those specific questions on testing if that's something that you need answered. Okay. But I want you to think about, coming to college. Again, if you're returning to college or you're coming for the first time, that can feel like a really big step, okay? And sometimes it's often quite different from what you've been doing. If you've been out in the professional world and you're coming back, or coming from high school to college can feel quite different as well. And it feels like we're kind of leaving this world behind and stepping into something totally new, okay? Hopefully you're coming with this great excitement. Okay, I hope you're all excited. This is an exciting place to be. We absolutely love it here at ISU. I do. I know Kristen does too. And it can be really exciting to get started. And then as you get going, suddenly there comes the stress, right? Courses start to get hard, and you may feel in over your head all of a sudden, or you might start questioning, what was I thinking coming here? All of that is normal. Okay, we want you to know that stress is part of what you're going to experience here in college. Okay, and that's not a bad thing. That's more good than bad. Okay, that means that you're growing and you're meeting challenges that are new for you. Okay, and that's part of the learning process. Our goal is to help you make that progress and get to graduation. Okay, and all of the services here on campus have that as their main goal. Okay, to help students. And so what we do in our office is help you stay on track with academics by dealing with the emotional difficulties that show up with these difficulties that you're going through, okay? Whatever those might be. So we have a number of different services that we offer to help depending on what the needs are of each individual student, okay? And I'm gonna just outline a few of these services and what they include. And then I'm gonna turn the time over to Kristen, and she's gonna go through some specific things and tips to help you with the stressful moments that show up while you're here. Okay, so, and when you come in, when you feel a need to come talk to a counselor, and again, for whatever that might be, if it feels little, that's okay. We're here to help you with that. If it feels big, absolutely, we're here to help you with that as well, okay? The way to initiate services in our office is to call our office, okay? In the past, when we could do a lot more things face-to-face, we would have you walk in. Right now, we're doing all of those initial appointments over the phone. So here's our phone number. And you can give us a call. Our ongoing services to students, for students that want ongoing services, need to be in the state of Idaho to work with one of the counselors or psychologists in our office. If you are residing outside of Idaho and you're doing everything distance-based online and you're not physically in the state of Idaho, still call our office, and we can direct you to some services specifically for those that are out of the state of Idaho. But if you're in the state of Idaho, whether you're doing everything online or in person, give us a call and we can work with you directly. Okay, so you're going to give us a call between normal business hours, Monday to Friday is when our office is open. The person that answers the phone will ask you just a few quick questions, and they'll send you some online paperwork to complete, just like you would at any doctor's office. And then they'll set up a time for you to meet with one of our clinicians with a phone call or a Zoom call using video, okay, whichever works best for you. Okay, and then that counselor will call you, they'll gather some information, find out what your needs are, and help you get connected with the service that's going to best meet your needs, whatever those might be, okay? Sometimes that means connecting with a service outside of our office rather than working with us directly, and we're happy to help you make that connection as well. Sometimes students just want to talk about one simple thing, and it's like, I just want to talk with a counselor today about a specific issue, and for that you can request a single session. Just say, I need to talk to a counselor if they're available today or the next day, and we can set that up where it's just a single appointment where we can get right down into whatever that issue is, help you problem solve and move forward with whatever that might be. And if it's something more ongoing, then we can transition to that as well if that's what's needed. Okay. One of the great offerings that we have is group therapy. Now, this is not what you see in the movies, okay, or on TV. Group therapy is wonderful. It's not cheesy. We have a number of different groups, and what we love about group therapy is that a lot of times when we're dealing with emotional difficulties, we feel very much alone. We feel like we're the only ones struggling with this. And group is a great place to see that you're not alone in those struggles, that you get to work with your peers as well as professionals within the group and see that actually what you're experiencing is something that a lot of people experience, and there's ways through it, and you get to all help each other. So we have very general therapy groups. We call those understanding self and others groups, where you get to know yourself, you get to know what others are going through, and you get to all help each other with that. Okay, this is a primary treatment for a number of different concerns that you can see listed there on the slide. We have some other specific groups. We have a number of different USO groups, okay? So lots of different offerings there because a lot of students benefit from that. We do also have a specific group for anxiety. We call it our Anxiety Action Group. Those that are struggling with that general anxiety or problems in social situations where there's a lot of anxiety, talking with people, engaging with others. That's a more structured group focused specifically on anxiety that's available. That's on Monday afternoons. And we also have our Seeking Safety group, which is a very structured, it's almost like attending a class where it's about learning different coping skills with difficult emotions, difficult circumstances that you've been in, developing safe relationships with others. That's what that one is specifically on. It's very structured. It's less of the sharing and more of the learning to cope with different difficulties. And then we have a very specific group we call our Sexual Concerns group, and that's for people that have struggles with unwanted pornography viewing or unwanted masturbation issues that they want to change and make more in line with their personal values and life directions. And so we have a specific group for that. Okay. In addition to that, we have what we call our connections groups. And these are less structured and more specific to specific groups of students that would like to connect with people that are going through some very similar types of difficulties. And so we have our CAT Spectrum group, and that's for those that have any sort of struggles with autism spectrum sort of issues. And that's very widely interpreted. So whatever struggles may come with that, you can connect with other students that have an autism diagnosis or something similar. We also have a CATS parenting group, and this is for students that are parenting while also being a student. Okay, you can connect with other parents and all of the difficulties that come with that specific situation. That will be on Thursdays at noon. Okay, these are all conducted over Zoom. And then our third one is we have a survivors of suicide loss. If you've had a person in your life, whether a family member or a close friend, someone that you know that has died by suicide, this is a group where you can come together with other people that have experienced that and be able to support each other with that specific difficulty. That will be once a month on the second Thursday of each month at 8 a.m. just for an hour. Okay, so all of these are conducted on Zoom. All of our services right now are done remotely using Zoom. We find that that's still just as effective as helping people face-to-face. Of course, we love face-to-face encounters, but we have to follow our health protocols right now. So our website has the information for these groups and the Zoom links, ways to register for them. These connections groups are ones you can come to when you need to. Okay, they're not specific appointments. Anyone can join who wants to take part in this. There's no commitment to coming, but they're there for you to take part in. Another great service that we have is biofeedback. And biofeedback uses instruments to measure physiological processes in your body. So as you experience stress, anxiety, other emotional dysregulation, okay, these struggles that have a very physical piece to them, we can actually measure how your body is experiencing that. And we can teach you strategies where you can see exactly what's happening in your body as you practice these strategies and see how they work for you, so that as you practice them on your own, they can be very effective in managing this emotional distress that you're experiencing. So this is the one service where we do have you come in person, and we'll set you up with a sensor, and then the clinician will actually go to a separate room, and the rest is conducted over Zoom, so that we're not in close proximity with each other as we practice these things. But those are conducted up at the rec center in a specific space for that. But this is very, very helpful for students that just need that basic stress management, or even something a little bit more chronic that they've been dealing with for a long time, to learn these strategies of working with their body and dealing with these difficult emotions. Okay, we'll go ahead and skip over that. But we also want to be very aware of, there's a lot of specific difficulties that are in place right now with dealing with COVID-19, okay? Some of you thought about college of, going to class and everything, and here you are taking all online classes or taking some online classes. And what we've discovered, and many people have discovered, that, this online situation can be very draining, okay? That you may be stuck in your apartment all day doing your classwork because it's all online, okay? We found Zoom fatigue is a real thing. When you're on Zoom and doing these online things, it can get very tiresome when you don't make that personal physical contact with people. That's hard for most of us. And so recognizing that that's something that we're all dealing with on some level. We also don't have all the big events that we normally do. There's normally a lot going on campus. Right now, we're not able to do those at the same level and to do them in person like we normally do. So that lack of face-to-face contact, whether that's with family members, with friends, with your peers, it's not quite the same. And you might be missing that all along the way. Okay. Some of you might have gone through already times of quarantine or having to stay at home because of contact with someone who's been sick. So all of these things are happening. And on top of all this, there's a lot of ambiguity, a lot of uncertainty about how all this is going to play out over time. I know we're all feeling hopeful that things are going to start looking up and opening back up. I hope we all maintain that hope, because I think it will be coming, but the timeline on that is still uncertain. And so for now, this is the situation that we're in. So we want to acknowledge that this is some of the difficulties. And if this is specifically what you're dealing with, everything else is going fine. Absolutely, we're here to help you with these specific concerns as you come to college and you get into the swing of being a student here.
So good afternoon, everyone. Hi, I'm Kristen, one of the counselors at Counseling and Testing. Did anyone have any questions before we kind of transition into an exercise activity? Looks like there's one in the chat. Are there any groups for social media, anxiety, depression, and addiction? Matt, what do you think about that?
Not for that specific concern with social media, but that's what we find is that in our general therapy groups, that specific concern often bleeds into a lot of people's lives, and that's actually our general groups are a great place to talk about that, because most of the times what I find is with social media is there's a lot of that comparison with others. And that's something we do naturally as human beings, but social media can kind of what do I want to say, distort that for us and make it quite difficult. And so our general therapy groups often are a great place to work on that with peers.
Great question. Does anyone else have any questions? Feel free to even message us and we can answer things throughout our time together, or feel free to give us a call afterwards too. Excellent. So we talked a little bit about the stressors happening right now, and COVID is such a big one. And I know before we kind of all got onto the meeting, Brooke was also asking about the biggest types of stressors going on in our lives. So it's real, right? We're all in various degrees of stress, and even in really positive things in our lives happening, transitions are stressful. It's hard on our bodies. It can be something that we need to attend to. So we like to say stress management is more about seeing the big picture of what's going on and addressing it with lots of little ways to help manage stress and take care of yourself. So it's not one thing that fixes all the stress or makes you kind of deal with things better. It's lots of little things kind of attending to every day. So this is kind of a list of some of the general ways that humans can take care of their bodies. Maybe we can throw in the chat, what are some of the specific things that you all like to do to manage stress? Maybe it's along these lines, maybe it's something different. I like to kind of see what do you do to manage stress? World of Warcraft, meditation, reading, yoga. Bath, fishing, cleaning, working out, music, exercise. Yeah, those are all really great ideas. Fresh air, yes, so important. Fixing things, that's neat. Listening to records, playing games. So I think we have the general idea, right, that when we manage stress in our bodies, we kind of need to think of sleep. That is one of the biggest things that we address when we first come in, especially at a counseling. How are you sleeping? Because if you have 3 bad nights of sleep, usually you're not doing well. So sleep is a really important thing to kind of focus on and think about in terms of stress. Food as well. Your body gives you what you kind of put in it. So thinking about ways that I'm nourishing my body is really important. Activity. Our bodies are designed to move around and do things. And during these times of COVID, we have to get a little bit more creative with that. So being intentional about regular exercise or activity, doing things that you enjoy, thinking, what can I do today to help kind of bring a smile to my face, can be really helpful in managing stress. And I tell you what, we hear this all the time that, Kristen, how in the world would I, go for a jog or play games when I can barely keep up with my homework and managing all these things. And we heard from earlier, there's quite a few parents on the call today, and it is very challenging making time for these things. But it's almost like the idea that we can't really be productive and be able to use our minds and our bodies in the way that we want unless we're taking care of it in certain ways like this. So scheduling is really important. Staying connected to other humans is so incredibly important. We are such social creatures that if that's kind of not happening, it's really hard to feel balanced and being able to do the things we want to do. So one way that we'll kind of target for the next little while together is mindfulness. And I did see a couple people on there, meditation and long distance runs. Derek, you and I are on the same page. That is one of my favorite things as well. So meditation and mindfulness is something that we're going to chat a little bit more about, as maybe something that maybe you all haven't heard about as much. And we'll chat a little bit about this and some ways to practice. So Matt, I'll have you play this short video talking a little bit more about mindfulness. Matt, you might have to unmute it for on your end.
When I'm mad, my brain can get a headache and it can start hurting.
Your blood keeps pumping because you're like really mad. And you start to get sweaty because you're getting really, really mad. And then when you start getting really mad, you turn red.
When your body can't really control yourself, mad just takes over your body. I just get out of control. It's kind of like if you had a jar and then the jar would be your brain and then you put glitter in the jar and that would be how you would feel. If you shook up the jar and the glitter went everywhere, that would be how your mind looks. And it's like spinning around and then you don't have any time to think.
And you sometimes punch stuff and people when you don't really mean it.
When I get angry, I feel it in my heart. I really don't like when I get angry. The amygdala really reacts, but the prefrontal cortex tries to keep it down. When I feel like I want to, get really angry and yell, I just sometimes, take deep breaths. First you find a place where you can be alone. Then you find some way to relax and calm down. When I need to calm down, I take deep breaths. I breathe in through my nose. Sometimes I close my eyes or just take deep breaths.
It's calming down, it's not moving. It's slowing down and then it stops. And the heart pumps slow and then it goes into your brain.
It's like all the sparkles are at the bottom of your brain. My brain slows down and then I feel more calm and then I'm ready to speak to that person.
I'm pretty sure those kids are the cutest things I've seen ever. So I do appreciate so much how they basically talked about our anatomy and stress responses and also relaxation all in this wonderful little video. So what is mindfulness? This is the formal definition. Jon Kabat-Zinn was one of the leading researchers in mindfulness that developed this definition many years ago now. Mindfulness means paying attention in a particular way on purpose, in the present moment, and non-judgmentally. There's a lot of different parts in that, but in a sense, it means I'm going to pay attention to one thing at one time on purpose, so it's not on accident. And I'm going to have a kind, gentle attitude towards whatever I'm observing. And what we've found is that when we practice this, and Matt, if you're there, you can skip ahead one. What we found is that when we practice this present moment attention, is that we, we can have a more concentrated ability to just be with what's present with me. And maybe that's an emotion, or maybe that's a thought, maybe that's an experience. And over time, by cultivating mindfulness, we're able to respond to something going on rather than automatically react. Like those kiddos were saying about anger and not being able to speak to people when they're feeling angry. A lot of times when we're stressed or having a strong emotion, that's all we can see is just this emotion. However, when we're cultivating mindfulness or practicing more of mindful attention, we're able to choose more what we want to present next. So some ways to cultivate mindfulness is to actively notice what's going on right now in this moment. And we'll practice this in just a sec. But here's a couple easy ways to do this is just choose an activity or something you do every day, like brushing your teeth. And for those 2 minutes, all you do is just focus on your hand in that motion and the smell of and the taste of the toothpaste and the sensations. So that is focusing all your attention in on one thing at one moment. And that takes a lot of attention, and it's kind of hard to do. And you want to do the 12 other things that you normally do while you're brushing your teeth, if you're me, and you want to do all these different things. But when we can focus on one thing at one time, we actually find a lot of rest, and it helps recharge us in ways that we don't normally get throughout the day. Really, it's about tapping into your senses because our bodies are experiencing this present moment all the time. It's our minds that are always living in the future with anxiety and planning, or in the past with depression and thoughts and regrets. It's our minds that are taking us away from this present moment. But when we can tap into our bodies and see what's going on in this moment, we actually find that in this moment, I'm just sitting in a chair. It's kind of cold. I'm taking this breath, that we can find a lot of rest in that moment. All right, we can go to the next one. Yep, there we go. So this is some developed research in the last 30 years about some of the benefits of mindfulness. And there's reduction in rumination associated with depression and anxiety. So your mind kind of going to the things that you don't want to think about, but you end up thinking about them all the time. And then an enhanced sense of relaxation, reduction of stress. It actually boosts your working memories. You're able to remember things that you're learning, improves focus, concentration. It actually improves immune function because our bodies have to work less hard all the time, combating the stress of what's going on in our minds. And we have more cognitive flexibility, and we're more able to kind of adjust to things when they come up, adjust to problems, and kind of problem solve a little bit more. Those are some of the benefits. And we'll go to one more. Great. So with the remaining time, we're going to practice this because Mindfulness is all well and good when you're just listening or reading it in a book, but really it's about getting in and trying it for a few minutes. I do love this little comic because for all you pet lovers out there, we notice our little furry animals that we live with and how they just kind of are existing in the moment. They are very content with, they don't need to be looking at their phone all day long, and they're not worrying about what happened 3 years ago or what's going to happen tomorrow. They're just existing. So while we practice meditation and mindfulness, just kind of think about kind of embodying that idea that I'm just sitting and enjoying whatever's happening in this moment, or being with whatever's happening in this moment. All right. So as we kind of practice this just for a few moments, I'll have you, oh, not yet. I'll have you just for a moment, wherever you are sitting or standing or laying down, if that's what you're doing right now. So I'll have you just kind of focus on your feet or the connection to your chair or the ground. You're welcome to close your eyes if that feels comfortable. If not, you can kind of keep your eyes at kind of a neutral gaze. But just for a few moments, just notice the sensation of your feet on the floor. Just noticing that gentle pressure that you have perhaps. Maybe you're noticing that you have a sock on or a shoe. Maybe your feet are feeling a certain temperature, like cold or warmth. Just noticing the gentle pressure of your feet on the floor. And then just noticing your body sitting in the chair or whatever position that you're in. Noticing how, I'm just going to talk from it from a chair perspective. Just noticing that how you're being supported by this chair. Noticing that your body is feeling certain emotions and physical sensations right now. Just gently noticing your body in this position. And working your way up to your back and your chest, bringing some gentle awareness to your body in this moment. Perhaps noticing your shoulders and your arms. Seeing if you can notice perhaps your shirt, maybe a temperature if things are feeling a little cold or warm. And then noticing your neck and your head and your face. Almost with this curiosity, like this is the first time you're noticing this part of your body. Bringing curiousness to whatever you're experiencing. Perhaps you're noticing some tension that you didn't realize that was there. Maybe in your hands or your shoulders. If it feels okay, just offering that tension to relax or let go. By now, your mind has probably been distracted with the next thing to do or something that happened today. That's normal. That means you have a human mind. When you notice that your mind is no longer with your body, just gently bring it back. Noticing your body in this position right now. then for the last few moments together, how about we find our breath? Oftentimes we notice this through our nose, or our chest, or our belly. Noticing your breath like it's the very first time you've ever noticed you breathing. Following your breath all the way in and all the way out. And if that feels good to your body, I'll invite you to do that a few more times. If this is uncomfortable in any way, just find your feet again or notice your body in the chair. Following your breath all the way in. Seeing if you can even do a little bit longer exhale on this next one. Seeing if we can soften any of the tension. Seeing now for the next few moments, if you can follow 5 breaths, all the way in and all the way out. Try not to judge your experience or think you're doing it wrong. Just noticing the breath. Last one. And opening your eyes and coming back to this space. And just taking a moment and kind of noticing what your body feels like now. If you participated in that experience, seeing if things have shifted at all for you, or if things feel a little bit more calm or less tension. If you'd like to, maybe throw it in the chat, how that experience was for you. And Matt will go ahead to the next one. I have a very nice, calming. So we experienced that for maybe about 6 minutes or so, maybe 7. So it's a pretty brief amount of time, but what it can do is help hit the reset button for yourself. Well, it does lots of things. It helps kind of focus in on one thing at one time, rather than being spread out all over the place like our minds typically do. And it also helps to kind of check in with your body, noticing things that we maybe didn't notice before, like, wow, maybe I am carrying a lot of tension, or gosh, I didn't realize I was hungry, or I have to use the bathroom. So periodically kind of checking in with our bodies and minds throughout the day can be really helpful to attending to those little parts of stress. So over time, by meditating and being mindful intentionally, can kind of help your stress levels overall as well as anxiety and depression and all the things that we kind of talked about before. It can also help with sleep as well, regulating sleep systems. So keep that in mind. So if you are curious about this and maybe want to practice more or learn more, here are some opportunities on campus that we want to provide for you. So we do, through our center, we have a mindfulness meditation group that we have on Fridays. This is a wonderful opportunity. If you're curious, Meditating in a group is probably the best way to try this. For one, you're more likely to do it rather than get up after 2 minutes and say, oh, I got to go clean the bathroom or do anything else besides this, because that's often what happens. So I'll invite you to that mindfulness meditation group. It's wonderful. And actually, myself and some beloved colleagues and friends teach some mindfulness courses on campus. So if you're looking for an extracurricular class or just want to learn more about mindfulness, these are really wonderful opportunities that we have both in fall and spring. And let's see, so if you jump to the next one, these are mindfulness apps that are really wonderful. Insight Timer is probably my favorite because it's free. There's a lot of really wonderful guided meditations on Insight Timer. And the rest of them have free parts to it, but there's a lot of paid components as well. And honestly, if you just type in anything on YouTube or online, you will get thousands of hits. So kind of find what you like and get out there and just kind of try it. There's a ton out there. Mindful.org is another one of my favorite places to go if you want to learn, why does meditation work? I want to read articles about it. And these aren't super scientific, but they're definitely based on research. So mindful.org is a wonderful resource too to learn more about mindfulness and lots of different applications to it. And I know I'm out of time, so we'll bump to the last one. Please come in and chat with us. We are a really nice resource if you're like, I don't know who I need to talk to, but I know I need some help. I'm going to call Counseling and Testing. And if we can't help you, we will definitely help guide you to another resource on campus. We're here for you. If you're not feeling like you need help right now, that's amazing, wonderful. And keep us in mind for the future when and if things get a little hard. And binaural beats, yes. We do that through meditation as well. Thomas put that in the chat. So if anyone else has any questions to us, we'll kind of hang out for a bit. We'd love to answer any questions. Feel free to email Matt or myself if you have any other questions about counseling as well. We can put our emails in the chat as well. All right. Brooke, do you have any other thoughts that I missed or final things?
No, this is fantastic. I am really grateful to you, Kristen and Matt. Thank you for leading us through this today. I'm grateful to the students who have stayed with us until the end right now. In my mind, I'm thinking that this was such a great way to end orientation, and for all of you who are students to really end this Friday in such a relaxed, calm state, hopefully, and to leave new student orientation today with the courage and the confidence and the restful mind, hopefully, that you know you can start well on Monday. And I hope that each of the sessions today provided that for each of you. And I'm just feeling grateful to you, Kristen and Matt. Thank you so much. So yes, absolutely. So at this point, students, this is the end of spring new student orientation. And I want to encourage you to keep an eye on your ISU email. We frequently send you updates and information. For example, we're going to be sending you some Bingle ID updates today that might help some of you who have not yet picked up your Bingle card or gone to have your photo made for your Bingle card, that kind of thing. So keep an eye on ISU email, always, always. And other than that, also stay tuned for a survey from us. We would love to know how to make new student orientation improved, even for the next group of new Bingles who will enter in the next semester. So when you receive that message from us, we really would appreciate that you take the time to go through and answer it. It should take no more than 3 to 4 minutes of your time. And there will be a raffle prize for a Kindle tablet for those who participate in the survey. If you have any questions at all regarding new student orientation, I'm going to put in the chat box right this minute the new student orientation email address. I'm also going to put in the box our website because some of the recordings from today are already on that website. So this recording will be put up later. It has been live on YouTube, so you can go to YouTube immediately and view it. So that is the update on how to even receive information from us after the fact. With that, I will say Roar Bengals, best wishes, and we hope to see you in person as soon as possible. Thanks so much, all.
Thank you.